Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. So today I actually wanted to do a quick little video on why thinking about your twin flame actually just pushes them away further. And if you are doing this, waiting for union isn't going to help you. And the passage of time really doesn't mean anything on this journey. You could be waiting around for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. But until you make the necessary shifts, you cannot get anywhere closer to union. So I wanted to talk about why you want to stay away from thinking about your twin so that you can actually take the necessary steps to move towards union. Now, the twin flame connection is actually a very simple connection in that what you need to accomplish here is not difficult. However, it's the misinformation that we have regarding twin flame connections that really keeps us from reaching union. What do I mean by that? It's basically we have a lot of people posting a lot of things and their ideas of what the twin flame connection is, and therefore because you don't have the right tools, the resources to understand what you're dealing with, we're not able to implement what we need to do in order to make the necessary energetic shifts in order to come into union. Now, once you actually understand what you need to do, the twin flame journey is rather simple. Now, by simple, I mean there's only few steps that you kind of need to follow. Does this mean that this could take time? Yes, of course. It could take weeks, months, years still for you to implement what's needed. And each person's journey is going to vary depending on how much healing needs to be done and how successful you are in implementing what needs to get done. Nevertheless, the simple steps are the same for everybody. If you can implement those, you can easily work towards coming into union with your twin flame. Now, why thinking about your twin actually keeps you from union is really simply because as long as you are using your mind, you are kind of operating within the realm of the physical plane. That is, this mind actually only belongs to the world, the role you play within this world, but that's not who you truly are at your soul level. And in order to understand who you are at the soul level, you need to do something different, which means not to use your mind. The mind creates an illusion while you kind of, operate in the role that you're in, the body that you're in, and you are unable to kind of see and lift that veil to really understand who you are. This world that we live in, the universe that we're in, as long as you are trying to understand it from the physical plane, you will not get to see the fact that you are not your body. You are actually your soul, which kind of goes through lifetime over lifetimes and is really this eternal sense of self at the soul level. However, in order to see that, you need to rise above the mind, and you can only do this via meditation. As long as you are operating from the mind, thinking about your twin, you are stuck between what we call separation, that is within this universe, not just with your twin, but everything that exists. Because once you go into meditation, you are actually able to see that you are connected with everything in this universe. Everything comes from source. Every single person, every rock, every stone, every ocean, anything, animals, plants, everything comes from source. And therefore, there is a sense of oneness, a sense of union, inner union that you get to experience when you go within. But as long as you're thinking, just waiting, looking at your twin, you cannot experience that true reality because the mind is duality, the mind is polarity. So in order to get to that truth, you need to do something different, something outside of the physical realm. And that's how you can actually create that inner union, which can then reflect on your outside. In order to understand this connection better, you really want to understand the layers to your soul. Really, we only have one soul, but we are wearing, as we exist within this physical body, multiple layers that cover that soul, which don't allow us to really see that true light that exists beyond those layers. Now, I have actually created a video called 3 Bodies, 1 Soul. You may want to go watch that if you want to understand these layers. But essentially, in order to experience that oneness, you need to move from the physical body, move from the astral body, which still has a bit of a form, and move to the causal body, where you actually become formless and one with everything else in the universe. And until you experience that going within, you are not going to come into union with your twin flame. So if you can understand that as long as you are thinking with your mind, you are just creating what we call polarity, duality, that will continue to exist, and therefore separation will continue to exist in the physical realm. So if you have not experienced oneness within, you cannot experience that union in the physical with your twin. May ask, well, how do I reach my causal body? And the answer to that is there are 2 ways that twin flames can actually do this and achieve this. However, number 1 is more promising than number 2. Number 1 is really establishing a practice of meditation, and you want to be able to do this daily. If you're someone that's really new to meditation, you may have a hard time actually getting comfortable sitting with being still. And I really do recommend just pure stillness over, guided meditations, because essentially that is going to help you get comfortable with just being still. If you are new, you can start with smaller increments and then build up to possibly 1 hour to 2 hours a day. And you want to kind of show up each day consistently. It does take some time in order to still your mind. However, the more you do this, the better you'll become at it. And that's why I say it has to be a daily practice. Now, over time, this could take weeks, months, for some people years. However, what you're doing via this process is you are opening your third eye and transcending the mind. The second way that twin flames can achieve this is through a Kundalini awakening. Now, I've made several videos on what a Kundalini awakening is, but if you want to go and watch my video, Kundalini Meets Shiva, that will give you a good idea of what Kundalini, aka Shakti Ma, is really trying to do in terms of her journey inward and upward and trying to reach, beyond the crown. So when this actually happens for you, unfortunately, the problem is with Kundalini awakening is you don't know when Kundalini is going to get activated, and therefore it's not in your control. Now, if Kundalini awakenings, it will find its way out the crown, but that could take a very long time. So if you are somebody who wants to really accelerate this journey for yourself and really take control of what's happening, you want to start to meditate, which will help you with getting comfortable with stillness, help you on your healing journey, so that whenever Kundalini is ready to awaken, that process of her moving through your chakra system is much accelerated for you, and it is smooth, so that you don't have to go through the same pains as if you weren't used to getting into the habit of meditation. So definitely number 2 is going to guarantee that, she will move through your chakras, but it could be a long and painful process. So to really help yourself along the way, you want to establish a practice of meditation. Want to think about the twin flame journey as a transformational journey that is going to allow you to meet yourself at the soul level rather than uniting with your twin, because this really is a transformational journey about you, your own self-mastery and self-growth. And, really coming into union with your twin is a result of all of that inner work that you do. Watching this video and you have not started that journey towards your inner work, that is something you can start almost immediately, and that is going to be the only way you can actually work towards your union if that's something that you really want. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope this video was helpful. God bless.